Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the Mildly Ignorant podcast. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to episode 2 of our show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in last week for our big, huge debut. Unfortunately, we did not beat Joe Rogan. We nowhere close. We didn't get all the sponsors. But we still want to thank everyone who tuned in for our first show. I think, all jokes aside, we got quite a few more views than me and Matt both realistically expected. So thank you for everyone for tuning in and listening to the whole show.
Thank you, everybody.
For those who still haven't already, please make sure to head over to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on there, all 3 sites, at the Mildly Ignorant Podcast. Just look that up and I'm sure you'll find us. And if you're looking for different ways to listen to the podcast, we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, a bunch of other websites. I'm sure you can figure it all out. And we're also on YouTube and SoundCloud. So, Matt, we have a very special guest today. Our podcast team is with us today. Do you want to introduce who they are?
So
I'm saying plural, but there's only one person.
She is the mother I never had. She's the sister that everybody would want. She's the friend that everybody deserves. And I don't know a better person. Today in the studio with us, we have Lizard Ross.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good. I hope you can't hear the children outside. There's a lot of children screaming, and we have the window.
Well, maybe
open.
you should get them out of your basement and let them go free.
Oh shit!
For people,
give me a minute.
I think to add a bit more context, I say she's part of the podcast team because she makes our logos and graphics.
Yes, so Lizard is
graciously,
yes,
voluntarily,
my best friend, and she did the art for us for free, so we love that. Yay for us.
Yeah, the invoice will be coming soon. I'll just let you know.
God damn
it took some time. No, it was fun. You just were like,
Bill, Matt.
Is there someone who could make this logo? And I was like, please let me do this. I'm dying to do something creative.
Well, it was funny because Isaiah was like, I'm going to go on, what is it, like Fiverr and see if there's anyone who can like throw up something real quick. And I was like, hold on. I have talented friends with talents, so we might be able to find someone who would be able to do it for free. And sure enough, you always come through for me.
And it's better than anything we could have paid for.
Or done ourselves.
Yeah, I tried and I failed miserably because last time I used Photoshop was like 2 years ago, so I cannot do anything. Or Illustrator.
Well, thank you. I actually, when I finished it, I was like, I wonder if I should go on Fiverr and just like do this for other people. Because they can edit photos really quickly on Procreate, because I have an iPad and a pencil.
Do it. People on Fiverr make bank.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty fun.
Cash.
And if you want to go a little bit on the naughty side, there's even more money to be made there. If you want to be
oh my gosh.
If you have no morals.
Just
what do you mean? What do you mean by
morals.
that? Like drawing stuff or like
furry artists get paid mad bank.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you meant like I don't know, flashing some bits. And I was like, hello.
no, I meant like naughty drawings.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No.
Furry artists cannot be underestimated.
The top furry artist on like Patreon is like 170,000 a month almost, I think.
Yeah,
oh
it's nuts.
That's
I have
wild.
another friend who's like, oh, I want to do art professionally, and I always tell them, I'm like, do furry art, and then they're like, well, I don't want to be known for that, and I'm like, well, do you want success or do you want like notoriety?
Come up with an alias.
Sex sells, man.
Oh, true. Just come up with a different name.
Just go by a different name, like a ghost name.
So,
yeah.
Liz, in the first episode, Isaiah and I talked about the worst experiences. So, like the worst days or really, really terrible days that we had. And we were just wondering if you had any insight, if you've had any particularly shitty days that you would want to share with the class today.
It's a nice icebreaker too, because this is my first ever conversation with Liz. So
oh yeah.
I need a little introduction, and there's no better way to introduce someone than talk about their worst days on this planet.
Absolutely.
Right to the core of the matter.
It wasn't until I listened to the first episode that I was like, oh, Isaiah's voice is really, really deep. Because we'd only ever
Yeah.
spoken through like text or chat before.
Don't worry, I look like I'm 12 years old. The voice doesn't match the face.
I think we've seen each other in person before. Maybe not. I don't know.
Probably just in passing, honestly.
Probably.
I mean, once upon a time, we all worked at the same store.
Yeah.
Not gonna name drop it, but hey.
A terrible, terrible place.
I honestly don't remember. Like, to me, the days, like, they all just blend together. So, like, meeting you, Liz, and then meeting Isaiah, like, it could have happened the same day for me. I don't know any better. Like, the 7 years that I was there is just, it's one experience. It's all blended together.
There was like
But yeah, why don't you
years
go
in
ahead and-
between. Were there not?
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm fully aware that, like,
Yeah, we never worked together.
I
at the
should
same
know
time.
better.
Yeah. It just, it makes time. I'm sorry. It makes sense. Yeah, I did listen to the first episode though, and both of your stories sound horrible. Isaiah, I'm happy you got your iPod back. That's for
Oh,
sure.
I'm glad too, man. I would still be crying today
That
if I
would
did not.
really, really suck. Unlike Matt's though, mine's not really like a specific day because I really tried to think about this. I was like, okay, when was the worst day of my life? And I realized I've kind of suppressed a good chunk of those memories for good reason. But I did think of one that was, I guess, semi-recent. So
Look at this person over here dealing with their trauma in a healthy way. Come on.
just barely.
Come on.
Oh man, some self-reflection through that pandemic, but you know, ongoing. Anyways,
Pandemic?
a panorama.
I haven't left my basement in like 2 years.
the big panini. No, okay, so for context, I went to school for film and lived in Toronto for the 4 years that I was in school. I'll just say it because I don't live there anymore. And film was like really my passion. I loved it so much. I worked in the art department and I did props and set decorating. But unfortunately, I have some back issues. And when you become a set decorator in the film industry, you're just a glorified mover. So you're spending days just moving couches and tables and filling places up with heavy decor. And then basically like taking it down at the end of the day and then going home and doing the same thing over and over again for about a month, depending on if you're on films or TV. But anyways, I basically was living in Toronto and I was just doing freelance and I was just doing whatever I could get for a gig. And I wasn't
Real artist life.
starving artist life, that's for sure. So I ran out of money and I was super, super depressed. Just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Basically just spent the days like sobbing, just waiting to find jobs. When I got a job, I was fine. I was great. I was really productive. I had full days. I made a lot of money. But as soon as I didn't have one again, it was like right downhill. So, I had been like waiting a full month and I hadn't gotten a job because it was getting closer to the winter. And I finally just like made the decision that I would move back to my parents' house. Now, this is before the pandemic, so I got really, really fortunate because a lot of people moved back as soon as COVID hit anyways. So I probably would have come back anyway. But it was end of 2019 or like maybe beginning of 2019. Either way, I just remember the last day that I moved, I packed up my tiny Toyota Echo. It was like 2003 Toyota Echo, tiniest car ever. Actual piece of junk, but like my number one, got me through everything. I filled it with all of my stuff, just like 2 Tupperware bins of clothing and all my bedding and stuff, and I just drove home. And I remember like leaving was very sad. I had said goodbye to my friends like a day or two before because I didn't want to pack, so I didn't pack. And then I got in my car and I just cried for the 5-hour drive, or I guess 5-hour drive. And I remember like getting texts from my friends being like, we'll miss you, like we'll see each other soon, it's not even that bad. And I was just like, oh my God, first of all, I'm leaving the city, so I'm giving up my film career because there's nothing I can do in film outside of Toronto. And that was depressing. And then I was like, I'm leaving all my friends. I don't have any money. I have to go back to my parents' house. And it was just like all coming crashing down on me all at once. And yeah, I just remember sobbing for almost the entire drive, having to like pull myself together when I'd get to a like rest stop, if I'd have to go to the washroom or like get gas. And then just like breaking down again once I started driving. It was horrible. And I remember being like that sad for a little bit after I moved back because I was just so sure that my film career was dead. And I mean, in hindsight... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just imagine you pulling over at a gas station and like you put gas in your car and you go in to pay and the guy's like, which pump? And you're like, 20 on 4! And then just like bawling your eyes out, and he's just like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? That's just what I imagined. Sorry, as you were saying.
Oh no, I just like can't think of any other time, at least in hindsight, like it wasn't the end of my film career. I ended up working on a couple more films before realizing film was not for me, and I got major burnout, but like that moment was devastating. I was like, oh my gosh, leaving Toronto is leaving everything I have worked towards behind. And it was like my whole world crashed around me. Little did I know it was just going to get worse. But it's whatever.
Who knew COVID was just around the corner?
Yeah, it really was. It really, really was. But
I'm just imagining like that Davon. Was that her name from Big Brother? Davon?
Yeah,
the
Davon.
meme of her like coming out into the studio.
Oh my god, yeah, her like prancing out after she got evicted.
That's COVID.
Is there any future plans to move back to the hot city for film?
So what ended up happening?
Anything art related?
I mean, I still love media work. I mean, obviously, I love doing graphic work and stuff. I love making art of all sorts. But I think it like after moving and then doing film elsewhere than Toronto, first of all, I realized I wasn't a city person. I mean, I grew up in like a tiny town, middle of kind of the country, but it's just like I moved to Etobicoke, which was like not downtown Toronto, but it was still more city than where I was from. And I was just like, this is still a lot. I miss, seeing trees and grass sometimes. So
yeah, I could never live in Toronto. Oh my god.
Even
downtown Toronto especially.
Even just downtown. My sister lived there with her boyfriend for I guess like 2 years maybe, and they were like center downtown in a super high rise. I think they were on the 30th something floor. It was insane. I was just like concrete jungle for real. But yeah, I just realized
could do that.
I realized I could never do that. Either. Like, I just was like, I can't. I liked going to the country too much. I was like, I definitely would prefer to be a good in-between. I didn't like where I grew up because it was so far from everything else, but,
You want like a suburb.
Yeah. Another reason why I'm definitely not moving back is I met my boyfriend after I had moved back here, so...
What about you, Matty boy? Are you a city boy? Or are you down and dirty country boy?
I mean, I'm definitely not like a rural guy. No. That's not me. I'd like to think I'm a city guy, but I don't know.
I think you just need public transit.
Because, like, I lived in Kingston, and I loved that. And, like, Ottawa would be fine, except, like, there's nothing, right? But, like, Kingston was wonderful, and Kingston is a small city.
Kingston is a nice city.
But, it's
not a concrete jungle.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, maybe a small city, but... Yeah, I've always dreamed of, like, living in a loft or something. But...
Like, I'll never understand the people that can live in, like, New York City or something like that. That's impossible for me. I would never.
That's just crazy.
Yeah,
just, like, visiting there for a week, and by the end of the week, I want to, like, leave.
Yeah.
Like, it's so what's the word, like, overwhelming. Everything's so overwhelming over there. Well, I guess you get used to it if you live there, but
Yeah, but it's also overwhelming like all the time, right? Like even
yeah,
like
it's perpetual noise.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Even at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, like in some spaces, it's like I don't want to say it's
Yeah.
like the middle of the day, but like it's still just as busy and there's people and cars and things going on. So yeah, I don't know. I like my quiet spaces.
I find the types of people who like to live in the city are the people who want to be doing something. You know, like right after work, I'm going to a pub or to a bar to, you know, see my friends and have a drink. Or like you're going out to do stuff instead of just going home. So it makes sense you're
Yeah.
living in a smaller box because you're not spending as much time there. But I feel like all of us are homebodies, so that doesn't make sense for us.
Yeah.
or it's like those people like living in the city until they hit boomer age, and then they're like, okay, there's nothing left for me in the city. Time to go to the suburb or rural area.
Yeah. People
mean,
just
growing
living
up-
there for the city.
Growing up where we grew up in like the suburbs is terrible. Nothing to do.
Yeah, I guess it depends, like what suburb we're talking about.
It sucked where we grew up, I think, just because we were so far from everything else and we didn't have public transit. You know, like
Yeah.
we had to drive 20 minutes to get to public transit.
Yeah,
And it was
the
just
lack
like,
of public transit sucked.
yeah. And so we were kind of limited to our town, and our town didn't have anything.
Nope.
Because I didn't mind our town. Like, moving back really sucked, obviously, and like living with my parents was not ideal, but it was like I don't hate the town or like the size of the town. I feel like it's pretty nice. It's definitely larger. Lots has been built around and continues to be built. But it's just like I don't see myself living anywhere near there, but maybe somewhere like there elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, like I feel like where we live is literally the like small town stereotype when it comes to like activities that we can do. It's like, yeah, we can go to the Walmart. We can go for a drive.
You can go for a drive, listen to some music. Who wants to go
we
to
can the
McDonald's?
park, maybe. Yeah, McDonald's, and that's about it. Like McDonald's, Walmart, drive, park. That's about it. Yeah.
Let's go hang in the Tim's parking lot.
Yeah, basically. Literally nothing else to do.
Yeah. No, it definitely made, like, living in the city made me realize I don't want to live in the city. It's just
Yeah.
too much. Too busy.
And on the flip side, we're here bitching about our own suburb.
I
Like,
need
there's no in between.
Yeah.
I need something
We
in
hate everywhere.
between.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So should we move into a new topic?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
I guess I'll go ahead. Isaiah, did you ever play Overwatch?
I'm gonna say no, even though I did, like very briefly. Like I don't even think I hit like any kind of level or anything. I think I played like a day.
Oh, okay.
Or
So you
two,
like
like-
you basically just tried it out.
Yeah, when it was in the like full hype mode.
Yeah.
I tried it out.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna mention the fact that we are betrayers and imposters because we play that other game that
Oh,
is,
yeah. The competitor.
rivals with it. Yeah. The competitor that got wiped, but anyways.
I mean, hey, who's suffering now, right?
Yes.
So speaking of, if you were living under a rock, a 2+ year investigation came out against Activision Blizzard regarding a tremendous amount of sexual assault claims and inappropriate behavior towards like the development teams and the people who were working there. And we're going to talk about kind of all of it, but kind of the cherry on top, the grand summation of something that is going on now is one of the characters, Jesse McCree, a character in the game Overwatch, will be renamed in the wake of the sexual harassment allegations against the company. because Jesse McCree was the name of one of the developers on the game team, and then the creators, I don't know if it was the Overwatch team or Blizzard themselves, have come out and said that that does not reflect like who they are as a corporation, and they want to do better. So they're going to be changing his name. As of right now, it's September 11th, 2021. They haven't unveiled what his new name is going to be, but that's just kind of... They had come out with a public statement a while ago.
Let me just, emphasize the fact... yeah. I just want to emphasize the fact that, the shit that came out in that lawsuit, from the higher-ups, the lawsuit comes from ex-employees and, current employees, most of them female, but, the shit that came out in regards to, the higher-ups and the way they abuse their power and stuff like that, it led to one of the employees, committing suicide, and then a bunch of other employees, some of the horror stories, just stalking. They say here it was basically just a frat boy party 24/7 in the office.
Oh my God.
They would drink on the clock. Women would. There's huge wage gaps because they would force the women to do things to get higher wages and whatnot. And it wasn't extra work. That's all I'm gonna say. Not the typical tasks you would get at Activision Blizzard. It was very sexual in nature, and I just find it hilarious how this company decides to rename a character as their way to brush all this shit under the rug. And I don't know if it's working. I mean, I'm sure the fanboys are probably...
I think it's crazy how ironic, because the whole concept behind Overwatch is that it is inclusive of all genders and nationalities, and they put a lot of emphasis in making characters relatable to everyday people, right? You have Tracer, who is queer representation, and then you have characters like Ana and Lucio, who are from Egypt and I think Brazil, and they really made an effort to showcase the people of the world. Meanwhile, the dev team is 100% a 180 on all of these beliefs and ideals. I just think that it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
They did it well, the whole being diverse and stuff like that, and in game I'm talking about with the characters in game, when certain communities of people were oh, they're shoving it down our throat, they're just PR. I mean, turns out it was most of it was right. It was just them doing good PR, apparently, according to their business actions, but they still did a good job of I'm sure maybe some people within the company, I'm sure, did actually care about being diverse, but the higher ups clearly, off of their actions, really didn't care.
Yeah,
and it was just a PR stunt, and it worked to a certain extent.
It's got to be embarrassing, because if you look how much love actually went into that game, obviously, yeah, it's a game and it's a business model, and the incentive at the end of the day is to make money. But if you look at how involved with, say, just the voice actors are, you have what's his name, the voice of McCree, oh my god, Matthew Mercer. He's such a stand-up guy himself, and just everything he touches, he puts all of his heart into, and you can see that, and you see that with the other voice actors for the game. Is everything they do, they care so much about the people and the fans, and it's just real. It's kind of heartbreaking to see something like Overwatch you can easily fall in love with as just a casual game that you play every day with your friends, but you can see the work that they put into it and how much they care, only for the development and the back end to be such deplorable, to come out of such deplorable conditions. And what do you do in that sense? Because obviously not everyone is at fault. So do you just drop Blizzard as a company, or what are we as the fans supposed to do moving forward?
I mean, I'm surprised at this point that the company's still in business, just because of how insane this lawsuit is. Like, I'm trying to find, like, I know it's online somewhere, the actual, like, legal lawsuit paper.
Yeah.
And it's, like, I know it's a freaking novel and a half. Like, it's massive. And, like, just to emphasize, like, some of the things that came out in the lawsuit, I'm trying to still find, like, a proper website that has all the information of the events. But, like, for example, I have here, like, they got caught, like, male employees got caught putting spy cameras in, like, the unisex bathrooms that they have there. There was, like, these cube crawls, they called, where male employees were drunk out of their mind, and they had to, like, run through the cubicles, I guess, and, like, grope women. I don't know.
Oh my
There's a bunch
God.
of they were spying on women that were breastfeeding in the breastfeeding room. Bunch of weird shit like that happened. And yeah, basically, yeah, then obviously the big deal was the female employee that committed suicide while on a company trip. And apparently she, like, with the letters she left behind or whatever, she said that it was related to, like, the sexual nature and sexual problems that she had in the company.
Yeah, I read, and we don't fact check anything, that either she was in a relationship or she was, like, propositioned to be in a relationship by a superior or someone who had, like, kind of power and influence over her and her career. And, like,
Well,
yeah,
I was reading a similar event where a girl, she was just a widow by a few weeks, and a higher up denied her promotion until she slept with him just because he thought that she needed to have sex after her husband died to make her happy again.
Oh my God.
that's
So,
actually
yeah.
like insane.
So it's fucking weird that this company's still alive. I mean,
How?
the lawsuit hasn't gone through yet. I think that's why they're still doing their thing, I guess. But I think it's still it's still in the courts. I think right now it's not nearly over. And I mean, it's such a huge lawsuit that's probably gonna take forever for anything to happen, which sucks because that's just gonna benefit Activision in the long run. Like, from a PR standpoint, no one's gonna care, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
take so
blow
long that they can
over.
blow it over. It's gonna blow over, which it shouldn't, because this is a fucking massive problem.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not the only company. This is probably just the first one. I mean, we already know about how bad gaming companies are in general when it comes to treating employees, like, especially when it comes close to deadlines for game launches.
Yeah.
Like, people sleep at their desks because they can't go home. Like, it's nuts. They work, like, 20-hour days just to get the games out on time. So I'm not surprised if other companies probably have similar
Like
issues.
corporate environments.
Yeah,
It's just
and
Lack
like,
of a better term.
It's like, it's everything in the entertainment industry. Like, the entertainment
sure it's
industry is
every-
literally just like, you need to pump this out right now and get it to people as fast as possible and as cheap as possible. And just like hearing what happened in this office is insane. As someone who's like not in the gaming community at all, obviously, to this I was living under a rock. I mean, I'd heard about the stuff that Overwatch had done, to have like like representation through their characters. I had seen articles about that stuff going around however long ago it was when they introduced, the first gay character. Or I guess it's openly gay character. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like that's all I've seen about this, and it's hearing it is like, okay, part of me's not surprised because of the type of environment I'm assuming it was, especially after you guys are talking about it.
It just like leads you to think because this has been a 2+ year investigation at this point. Like, this is long running, and this is just kind of like I don't want to say preliminary kind of report that's come out of the type of behavior that's been going on. But like you mentioned earlier, Isaiah, this can't be the only studio, or like, I don't know exactly what it would be. Like, this can't be the only one that this kind of behavior is going on in. And it's absurd. It's crazy because you can't imagine that. It's almost as crazy as like what you'd see in a movie, like Wolf of Wall Street or something, right? Like, it's that kind of
something you think would be real. Like, it feels so dramatic.
Exactly.
In a way, like,
Yeah.
dramatized.
It's just
But, like,
sorry, go ahead, Isaiah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like not to bring up, like, I know it's like a trope, I guess, or like there's kind of like a power dynamic in play, and not really, but it's more so in the sense that like to become a game developer to that caliber, like working for a AAA company like that takes years or of pure like either years of grind, or you're just talented like beyond like anyone else. So like to reach that level, there's that like not well, there's that feeling where like, okay, I made it, like I can't be like, I don't know, maybe like I've read it on like an opinion article somewhere. I deleted it, closed it now, but I remember some of the people that are in this lawsuit were talking about how it took them so long to come out about it was because like they made it. They were at Activision, they made it. Like they were at the top of the food chain in a sense, like for their career.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
like they felt like they had to like, okay, this is my new normal. I have to get used to this now. But like it wasn't. It's not normal. A workplace shouldn't be like that. But like they felt coerced in the way where like they had nowhere else to go because they were at the top, right?
Yeah,
so
it's
that feeling.
It's really shameful because like when Overwatch first came out, like literally everybody knew about it, and like imagine saying, "Yeah, I worked on Overwatch." Like a couple of years ago, you'd have been like, "Holy crap! Like that's amazing! Like you must be so good. You must be like so happy and so like committed and like such a fulfilling career." Because to have such like well renowned, and then now if you were to say that, everybody would just be like holy shit, like are the rumors true? Like are you okay? Did you experience anything like that? And I went to school for like in tech, and I have to say there were like maybe 5 females in my program. Women in my program, and like I befriended one of them because like as an openly queer person, it's not inviting. Like men in tech in general, there's a huge like hostile environment. The attitudes are just disgusting by most of the people there. It's unfortunately it's like what you'd expect, a bunch of like nerds crammed into a room together, and it's so unfortunate because there are so many nice talented people working like in tech and in these industries, but there's always going to be assholes, and they're going to be the loudest, and they're going to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, and like just to add on to like we were talking about like these women, like what's gonna happen moving forward. Apparently they don't, like most lawyers according to this news article, don't expect this thing to go to trial. They think that like from a law point of view, like going public with the lawsuit was just a way of ensuring that Activision Blizzard would pay out the lawsuits in a sense. Like it forces their hand because they can't really hide from it anymore, right? It's public.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to drag it to trial probably would be more expensive for the company. So it kind of forces them to pay out. So apparently there's a bunch of obviously like settlements and different lawsuits jammed. I don't know what the technical term is, but like in this one lawsuit there's multiple like cases, I guess, and there's different lawsuits ranging from $50,000 to $6.2 million in damages, and most lawyers are assuming that Activision Blizzard's going to just pay up because there's no way they're going to win in court either way.
Yeah.
Even if they bring it to trial, they're just going to lose. So, I mean, hopefully,
yeah, they're going to be looking to settle out of court as much as they can.
Yeah, they're definitely going to settle out of court, and hopefully the women get paid for damages. I know it doesn't really repair anything that happened to what in those offices. Like, yeah, the money's nice, but it doesn't really remove those memories or all those incidents that may have happened to these people that may fuck them up in the long term.
I think,
especially depending on how bad these situations were.
I think go ahead. I think what we just need to remember is like, yeah, this one is like, this particular situation is really bad, and it was like, it's a 2-year long investigation. going into it. So that now they're kind of presenting everything all at once and being like, here's everything that took place over this period of time to these certain people. So it like, it is a lot. It is horrible. And it's just like, you have to put into your mind that stuff like this happens in everyday businesses to women all the time. Yeah, maybe this one was definitely like to the extreme because of the circumstances, and what we're reading here is like extremely horrific because you're reading it all as a chunk, but it's still just like, oh my god, there are people that go through this in, you know, regular businesses, corporate buildings, just like whether your job has to do with gaming or the entertainment industry or not, like women go through this constantly, and it's almost like, it's so depressing. I'm happy that this is coming out, like it's finally being shown to light, and I guess like Matt said, it sucks for the people who collaborated with these creators to make the game, you know, the people who weren't within the company, like they have to deal with the consequences now of that company being, you know, shit. And it's just like, I hope something is done, like something more than just a payout. Like I don't know what they could possibly do though, because I guess it depends on each situation, each circumstance, each case, depending on if it's against a certain person, a certain employee. I mean, I'm assuming it is like the higher ups, you know, like pushing for people to try and sexually assaulting them, or trying to push for that person to have sex with them to be able to gain more in their career. Like that's unfortunately a norm in the world. I'm very fortunate to have never experienced it, but I know people who have. I've heard stories from other people who have, and it's just like, it's so unfortunate when it's the norm, and then you see it come out like this in like such a huge platform. Like everyone knows what Overwatch is.
Yeah. And like I'm trying to find a way to phrase this so it doesn't make it seem like I'm trying to belittle or make like other situations less bad as what's going on here, but like,
no, of course,
like obviously, like there's no way, like obviously your boss hitting on you and your boss wanting to sleep with you or whatever for X reasons, like for promotion or whatever, is equally as bad as, you know, like just taking the example of a man putting spy cameras in the washroom. Like, I mean, I just feel like unfortunately, like you said, like one's kind of the norm in society, which it shouldn't be the case.
They just took it to the extreme.
Yeah, like the sheer fact that not only, like, you would think that they would get the lawsuit the minute they found someone having damn cameras in the washroom, but no, it's people that put cameras in the washroom. Then it's people looking at women breastfeeding. Then it was someone committing suicide because of the issues. And then it was this, and then it was that. Then it's like huge event after huge event after huge event.
It should have been after the first one.
Like
dealt with.
Like it's just so many huge events. Like, I'm not saying that like hitting on, like a boss hitting on a woman or whatever isn't a big event, but I'm just saying like it's different calibers of.
No, of course.
Like intensity, I guess, in a way.
But you're just
like both equally as bad, but it's just one's extreme and.
Yeah, but you got to remember too, like you're reading these extreme parts. Now imagine that there's probably those other things underneath it that these people aren't coming forward with because they're only coming forward with the extremes. I'm sure even if people did come forward with some sort of sexual assault allegation, people brush it off constantly. Like women are just like, oh, it's whatever, they didn't mean it, or like, oh, well, did you see what you were wearing that day? You kind of deserved it. That sort of situation. And it's like, okay, so if this is happening, like they're having cameras in the bathroom and all this other stuff is happening, you got to think that like the minor stuff is still happening underneath.
It's definitely
a horrible workplace.
Yeah, it's got to be. There's got to be some sort of progression. So like that stuff was happening, and it's what allowed it to build up. I would just. Like that's what I would assume, right?
Yeah,
was like
just
all this
the higher
behavior,
ups doing it.
Exactly, everything going unchecked by, well, literally everybody. That allowed it to just kind of snowball into these bigger events that seem dramatic and crazy.
And I wouldn't be surprised, like I said earlier, if all the companies, not just in, well, I'll just stick to gaming just for the sake of the conversation, were like like this to a certain extent. Maybe not to the extremes. Like, I'm sure, unfortunately, every company's had its fair share of, like, sexual harassment claims that went up to HR and whatnot. But I'm sure every company's had, every gaming company, since all the, like maybe not, I don't want to globalize or generalize in case there, but most of the gaming companies have a similar culture from what I can see when it comes to, like, employees and the way they work and stuff like that. That I wouldn't be surprised if all these companies, like, I don't know, Ubisoft, EA, and all of them, all have the same weird, crazy events that happen that are related to, like, sexual harassment or whatnot.
I hope that this coming out is, like, if there is any, like, outstanding, you know, sexual assault allegation, you know, cases or charges against another company, that it will, like, be brought to light. You know, people will be like, oh, maybe we should take what this person said at this other company seriously. Like, let's see what's going on here, and maybe, like, dive deeper to make sure that it's not happening in other places, especially if it seems like these environments are, you know, the same kind of work environment, you know, like a frat boy house.
Yeah, like, it's
hopefully, like, any other victims anywhere else this will allow them to be heard and have people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this event is so massive. Like, they had walkouts and everything because of what happened with this lawsuit. So I'm hoping it starts, like, maybe some kind of movement within the other companies to do the same.
That would be great.
I'm sure internally all these companies are panicking, probably backpedaling like crazy and changing like their policies and stuff like that inside of the company.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure all the companies are like the higher ups, like the board of directors, are shitting themselves. Like, in other companies, looking at what happening in Activision Blizzard and being like, okay, we need to backpedal if we're gonna keep making money. Like, that's the sad part too. At the end of the day, is that I'm not surprised if the board of directors, like in Activision or any other company, don't care from, like, a human point of view. Like, they're just thinking money.
They're just concerned about the money. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly. They it's all numbers. It's all crunching numbers. Like, when you're at the level where it's a board of like you're on the board of directors, like, you don't, like, the company is just a number to you. Like, you don't know any of the employees. You don't care. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just a number. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't actually care, which sucks. They're just doing these new policies or putting in these new changes for the sake of PR and ensuring that the company survives.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously I can't read their mind. I'm sure there's people with good intentions up there, but I'm sure most of them just care about the bottom line, like the bottom dollar and whatnot, and trying to save what they can from their assets and stocks in the company or whatnot.
I just find it wild that, like, of all of the companies, like, game companies come out of that, like, it was specifically, like, Activision Blizzard. Because, like, Blizzard, since the, like, 90s, has been a household name, right? When it comes to like, video games. And just, like, I would imagine a lot of people who work there grew up with those games. And they were never, like games that would, like, incite violence or anything. I don't know. It's just really shocking to me growing up as, like, a Blizzard kid, like, growing up with the original Diablo and StarCraft, and then even now I'm trying to mentally, like, oh, it can't just be Blizzard, like, it's probably more so Activision, but, like, you can't make that assumption, right?
I mean, it's not the first time that Blizzard has been caught in, like, this kind of drama. Like, I don't remember what the full story is, but, like, what's their BlizzCon?
Mm-hmm.
I know BlizzCon has been caught in tons of controversy. I don't remember why, but there's been, like, protests at BlizzCon for some reason. I forget what the whole story is with that, but, like, it's not the first time that Blizzard's been caught in stuff like that.
I know there were protests for what was it, Resist Hong Kong or something?
Oh yeah, the Hong Kong protest. Well, yeah, because Blizzard isn't Blizzard. I'm trying to find, because Blizzard's not an American company, no? I think that's why they did the protests there.
Something along those lines. Basically, a lot of, I don't know if it's
it is
shareholders or like a lot of where the money was coming from was like China, and they really didn't do anything to help
Yeah.
the Hong Kong protests, and people were upset.
And speaking of money, like just for fun, I went to go see stocks for Activision Blizzard, and obviously like it dropped. Like it went from like $90 US to $79 US, so it dropped $10. The stocks dropped $10. Was the biggest drop in the last
Well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Actually, over the last basically it's their biggest drop thus far, but they're already climbing back up, so it's like the damage of the lawsuit, at least from a PR perspective, is past
Yeah.
to a certain extent, which sucks. But I'm sure their player like online player counts have dropped. I'm sure there's people boycotting it still and whatnot. I don't know.
I mean, gamers are so fickle in that sense anyways, right? Because, like, I mean, people were saying Overwatch was dead, like, the year it came out. But, like, this is going to sound terrible, but, like, do we think their fans are going to care? Like...
Oh, no. That's
you know what I mean?
Internet.
Yeah.
Like, that's an unfortunate part of the internet, is that there's so much shit going on the internet at once. You're presented so much stuff that it's almost impossible to stay mad at something past a few days, because you're like Activision. I don't know what the next thing came out after, like what the next big deal was after like the lawsuit with Activision Blizzard, but I'm sure some negative news about some internet celebrity or something came out, and now the internet's moved on to the next thing. Like there's no, the attention span of the internet is like 5 seconds, because there's so much stuff going on that, yeah, maybe this was a big deal, so it lasted 10 seconds in reality instead of the typical 5. But I'm sure some YouTuber diddled the kid, and now we're moved on to the next thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like there's no attention span on the internet, unfortunately, just
Hopefully,
because of the sheer size of it.
hopefully it was like people read it enough, and there's a percentage of people who were fans of the company that like decided after reading the news, being like, I'm not going to use this company anymore, or any of the games by this company anymore. Specifically Blizzard, I'll say, not necessarily Activision, but like hopefully some people took away from it like, oh, we shouldn't use their product anymore. They're a not good company.
We should, but like, again, it's such a complex issue, because like, Liz, as an artist, imagine you get a job working somewhere, and like your art is out there and it's published, and like, and people love and admire it, and then your workplace ruins it. Like, what do you do as an artist in that case, right?
Well, like, even add more to that, like, you're an artist for like, I don't know art that well, like the community or the business side of it, but like for like the top company, I don't know what it is, but in the world, that's kind of what's going on here, right? Where you have that pressure of you're already made it to the top, and now you're willing to sacrifice it all for a lawsuit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's you're right. It's really difficult to think about it like that, because then it's like, oh, well, if these people stop playing the game, then, you know, some of these artists are gonna not be able to continue to make this game, or, you know, make adaptations for the game. I think they're still, like, Overwatch is still big enough and is still gonna come out with updates. I mean, like, big updates, I'm assuming. Was it... Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but was it Overwatch that had the Ariana Grande concert?
No, that was Fortnite.
Oh, my bad. Well, okay,
But
I get those...
Overwatch is getting a sequel, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, like, they're still gonna come out with things.
I think what the bare minimum everybody can hope for and ask for is that this investigation weeds out all of these employees and makes it known that what happened will not be tolerated moving forward, and anybody associated, just like give them the chop, death to all of them. Not really.
Bring the
like,
guillotine.
weed them out, because people want to love and support, right? Nobody wants to I mean, this is the internet. Everybody actually wants to like hate on everything, but like it comes from a sense of passion where like people want to care, and all that we ask is that get rid of, like, weed out the trash and let us appreciate those who work hard and those who might have had to struggle for their art and their success, because like at least that's what I want. Like I would love to play Overwatch 2 knowing that like they got rid of all of the shitty behavior and like everything tied to it from like these 2-year investigation, and know that like, hey, I can proudly support this company again.
It's just
I looked up
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I looked up just out of curiosity like the live player count, and like for the last few months, I don't know, I don't play Overwatch, but I'm assuming some big event happened in January because the player count skyrocketed. But ever since the lawsuit came out, they've been bleeding live players. Like they lost they lost 300,000 players in the month of August, which was 4% of total their
Jeez.
player base, and then they lost another 2% in the last 30 days. So I mean, some people are definitely boycotting the game.
Yeah,
so
people are taking notice.
Or Activision in general. So
I think like what Matt said, I really hope that they take this as like, okay, this is what has come out, and we're gonna take it as a way to turn things around. Yeah, take the trash out and continue just like making the games, because like clearly people really liked Overwatch. It still do. I remember when it came out though, like it was big, and yeah, I really just hope that they like fix it. They try their best to fix it. First of all, deal with the lawsuit, deal with the victims, but then like after that be like, okay, we're gonna build from the ground up to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Exactly. You can cancel Blizzard all you want, but that still leaves those people who are working there who aren't a part of all of this, right? And like that's the whole thing with like cancel culture, but like you can't just cancel something without giving it a chance to grow and improve and like shed its negative aspects.
yeah, and
you can't just chop down a tree and then like, because you'll be left with nothing, right? You've got to prune it. I don't know, tree metaphor.
well, that's the whole like, not to go too far off topic, but like, the whole basis
Chop
of
off the dead branches.
cancel culture relies like on the fact that it originated from the internet, where the internet is just extremes. Like you can't have, there's no such thing as a middle ground, or like being just a little bit for, a little bit against a certain topic. You have to be on the extreme end. Like it's so polar on the internet where like for some reason the internet can't comprehend that you can't
issues have multiple complex layers.
Yeah, like you like I don't know, like you can't, like they think their only solution is to destroy Activision, wipe completely off the map, right? Like most of the cancel culture, that's what they want, is just destroy Activision entirely, but they don't think of the actual innocent people, which I'm sure there's tons of, that are working for the company, that their livelihoods depend on it, you know?
Exactly.
Like all the artists, all the people that are making money off of these games or living their life because of this career. You can't just wipe the whole company because of these events, even though these events are horrible.
Hopefully,
yeah, it's like
penalize the nice people for what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Hopefully when this stuff came to light though, like the people who are innocent that are working in these situations, hopefully if they were like unaware of what was going on and this is how they found out, or they found out like just as it started to come out, hopefully they took that as a sign to like leave the company, you know? Especially if they're like if they're like somebody who's a really talented artist, like especially just having I can assume like having Blizzard or Activision just in general on your resume is enough for another another company to go, okay, you have experience and you know what this is like
Yeah.
they're going to be able to go on for further opportunities. They can, I mean, hopefully be like, listen, I was not involved in any of this. Here's the proof. So and so, I wasn't like charged with anything. And I wasn't in a position to be like, you know, empower and put in the umbrella for a charge of something.
Yeah.
You know?
But imagine that, like, we'll take Overwatch as an example. Like, imagine that was your dream since high school, right? Like,
Yeah.
you imagined, I don't know, a character, or you imagined part of this world, and to see it come to fruition, and like, it's, I don't want to say your life's work, but it's like something that you've always dreamed about, and now you've got to just give it up because, like, I don't want to say a few bad apples, that's terrible, but like, if it's something that you have been working on and like someone else tainted it and tainted your name and tainted your image and like your dreams, like, what are you supposed to do moving forward? That's what like boggles my mind, because I know that there's got to be people on that development team who have like, this was their dream since they were in high school or they were in college, right?
Oh yeah, this has to be like devastating for some of these people, realizing that like, oh, people are boycotting this company now. And it's like, this is where I was going and what I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, no, I guess, I mean, the only thing you can hope is that they disagree with what the company's done and have decided they don't want to be part of the company, or if they really don't have the option to leave, because I know that's always sometimes, sometimes
to
happens.
go on about like other companies too, I just reading again some more, and Ubisoft joined Activision during the walkout. They signed the letters supporting Activision's the employees at Activision Blizzard in their actions, and apparently they're demanding this from Ubisoft, better working conditions as well. So even though there's no investigation on Ubisoft, I'm sure obviously if they're walking out, means there's crap that happened there too.
Yeah, hopefully that like they're gonna do an investigation into that, especially if something has been said before. They're like actually be like, okay, well maybe we should look further into this to make sure it's not another Blizzard situation.
Exactly.
We can hope.
Yeah, right now it just seems like all the senior developers and president and all, CEO and all that, they're all just leaving, walking away.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So big changes are happening, at least in the company, from the top down, which is probably what needed to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best.
It's not the bottom that's the problem, it's the top. So anyways, it's already been an hour, so should we move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
A little bit, talk about briefly, and on a better note, or a more funner note, I guess.
Yeah, we'll lighten up the conversation a bit, a little bit, hopefully. Something I've noticed, and I've come across it quite a few times, and every time it pops up, I send it to my friends, and I'm always completely baffled about just how batshit some people can be sometimes. I'm talking about shifting reality TikTok. Like, just saying it, I sound like a crazy person, and I don't understand how it has become so popular. But basically, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know what shifting realities is on TikTok, but I don't think Liz is into that internet culture as much. So I don't think she knows much about this. So
I mean, I've shared.
If you can explain a bit.
A couple TikToks every time I see it.
Matt has sent me a couple, so I've seen a couple. I am, like him, truly baffled. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. I saw one today, I don't even remember what it was, but it's a girl just being like, I just shifted into so-and-so reality, and it was the reality of like a TV show. And they were like, oh my god, so fun. And all the comments are like, no way, I want to go. And I was like, what am I reading here?
It is like, Gen Z has rediscovered imagination.
Can we normalize imagining?
So basically, how it all started, as most terrible things on the internet often do, it was a what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, it started with Harry Potter, and it started with a huge like cult following of Draco Malfoy, or like Tom Felton's character in the Harry Potter series. People making like fan TikToks about him, and like, of course, he's hot as hell. Come on, let's be real. But then I don't know where shifting TikTok started, but it was like, oh, you can actually go to Hogwarts, and here's how to do it. And then like people imagining that, like, oh yeah, just got back from fucking
Hanging with
what was
Draco.
the name of the bar that they had butterbeer, what was that called?
Oh my god.
I've never watched Harry Potter in my life, so you guys
Greg,
are on your own.
I've seen it like once.
I know more than both of you. I read 5 of the books. I stopped on the 5th one, and then I've seen all the movies multiple times, but I cannot for the life of me remember that name of that place, because I'm not like a dead set Harry Potter fan.
A diehard fan.
Yeah, but like,
Okay, so basically though, it was like someone was like, just got back from my date with Draco Malfoy, and then people were describing like different methods you could shift, and like there were 2 of them. There was one of them was the Alice in Wonderland method.
Yeah,
what?
there's a few methods.
Yeah.
Mirror method, Alice in Wonderland method, elevator method,
Oh my god.
rope method,
So-
mirror switch method.
Yeah, I saw one TikTok, and it was this girl who said that she like went to this carnival as a kid, and like there was a house of mirrors, and she's like, oh, mirrors, portals, like I know how dangerous this is. And then she like, when she got home and like went back to her city or whatever, like this bar that she frequented was on the opposite side of the street, and then she realized that like she's not in her reality anymore, because like she could have sworn that this bar that she always go to was on the other side of the street, so she must have shifted to another reality when she
Oh
was
my
at this
God.
carnival.
She's in the
Right?
mirrored
And it's just-
reality.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I saw another one, I'm trying to remember it.
I remember watching one, well, you think about it. I remember watching one that you sent me, and it was a person trying to explain how to do it. I don't even remember what they did specifically, but it wasn't a specific method. I didn't know there were methods. So, like,
I don't think any of it is real. Like, I know people are like tagging Dr. Ina and other like psychologists and like other actual people of science into this like shifting realities thing, but like I remember I remember the one I saw. It was somebody who said they had just bought a book and they didn't read it. They only looked at the cover. They didn't even read the back cover, and then they shifted to another reality and read the book, and when they got back to this reality, the book was the same. So like shifting is real, because this person dreamt that they read this book, and then they actually read the book, and it turned out that it was all true. Like it was the same.
okay, but do these people believe that what they're doing is true? Or are
Yeah,
they
they-
just shitting
yes.
with us?
Yeah. No, they are fully
Yeah.
invested. They're like,
And this isn't the only community. Like, I wanted to bring this up too while we talked about this. Like, there's reality shifting, and then like what I call them, like the rock lickers, like the people that like think these rocks do different powers. Like, I remember seeing a video where this one girl thought she was a mermaid because of this one rock, and then another community, which was a big deal. And I remember myself and Matt, we talked about this like just on our own outside of the podcast. Witchcraft,
Oh,
witches
yeah.
on TikTok are another big community where they just, I don't know, they mix milk and orange juice together and it makes a potion. I don't know, and it's like, yeah, like now that these communities are not niche communities anymore, they made it to the mainstream. There is people that are taking the piss out of it, like especially with the witchcraft stuff. Like I was joking with Matt the other day how there's this new subreddit that started where the witches were trying to hexing is the term they use for casting a spell on someone else or something like that, where they were trying to hex the Taliban out of Afghanistan. It was real. It was a legit thing.
Oh my
And
God.
then people, when they made it big, like when I made the front page of Reddit, like people were like, "Wow, this is nuts! Time to take the piss out of this and like joke around." And people started making jokes out of it. But genuinely, at its core, like these shifting reality people, these witches on TikTok are, for the most part, people that genuinely believe they're doing something, which is crazy to think.
This, like, I feel like I know where it stems from, right? Like, a lot of witch talk stems from either spiritual practices, be it opened or closed, of different religions, a lot of pagan rituals, a lot of African rituals that, like, I have no idea about, and then people interpreting it in their own way. And what, like, witch talk and spirituality, it basically just boils down to like foraging, so like collecting herbs that have like real world applications when it comes to healing and like helping the body. But then there's people who will watch a TV show like Sabrina and think that's real, right? Like, and then they'll make a TikTok about wanting to have sex with Harvey Kinkle. And so they're going to shift to, I don't know, Riverdale and have sex with him. And like, I just like, there's a huge blur when it comes to anything witchy, because first of all, it's taboo, so people are going to be interested in it. But it stems from like indigenous cultures and like actual healing. And can you really cast a spell? No. But can you change your mindset into believing that if you make tea out of some herbs that are inherently good for you, that you're going to be doing like better for your body and spiritual mind? Yeah, you can like come along for that ride.
But I wanna hex Allah, Matt. Come on.
Like, it just, like, how far can you go? I think a certain amount of ego is involved, and a certain amount of like how much can I get away with in terms of like these content creators. Because there's a big thing on TikTok where if you go to any like popular sound, you're gonna see like 18 of the exact same video by like 18 different creators, right?
Yeah.
So everyone wants to be unique.
Yeah.
And then it just gets to the point of like these banal, insane deviations from patterns that you've already seen.
And like to go off that idea, it gets me thinking. Like, I'm sure these things originated from like you said, from people just trying to be unique. I'm sure the first few witch videos or shifting reality videos on TikTok weren't people that genuinely believed they were doing magic or witchcraft or whatever. They were just trying to do it for the clicks, like they were trying to do it to get famous or be unique. And then when these videos started getting posted, I'm sure people that were genuinely into it, or like you said, like behind closed doors, like they felt interested by this kind of stuff, saw other people doing it publicly, and they're like, okay, now like I don't feel like so alone. Now I can do it publicly, like this whole witchcraft stuff or whatever. And they genuinely believe what they're doing. And now it's gotten to the point where people are, taking the piss out of it because it's really out there. I have an idea.
Yeah.
I just wonder now. Okay, so I don't know if I want to like categorize witch talk in the same as like the shifting realities. I mean, like I can understand why it's connected for sure. But I'm like, witch talk is like very specific. A lot of people have like inherited these lifestyles or like have been practicing these things for a long time. And I don't know if I believe any of it, but when it comes to like healing crystals or like healing potions and stuff, I can understand like that's kind of just a mindset for most of it, like just changing the way you think.
Yeah. Like the gist of like say go off of what Mao was saying earlier, like I'm sure like I don't watch every single witchcraft video that's on TikTok. I'm sure some of them are based in like religion or off like certain cultures have like genuine like
Beliefs
beliefs or like what we would call potions, I guess, drinks that you make with like herbs and stuff like that that are supposed to heal you for certain things and stuff like that. But what I was mostly focusing on was like the side of TikTok that like I'm saying like they literally just mix like the dumbest stuff together, like orange juice and milk, and call it a day. And like there's people that are that far out there where it's like, okay, it's obviously not based in any kind of religion or cultural belief, and it's just okay, he's either doing it for views or they're so invest into what they're doing. It's kind of weird.
Here's the thing. When it boils down to it, a lot of witchcraft, it really, and I've said this before, it comes from like indigenous people, and it comes from different cultures and different religions, be it open or closed practice. But originally it was like homeopathic and natural healing. So when you hear witches talk about like Eye of Newt, what they're really talking about is just mustard seed. Like it's just things like that were just different names for different herbs that like have been known to help people.
Yeah.
And then in comes the church coming and like banning any sort of these practices because it's like it ain't right with God or anything like that, right? So a lot of hatred like about witches and spirituality that isn't based in like Christianity is seen as so taboo strictly because of religions like Christianity and like other like Catholicism and other large religions that have had that influence to make these other smaller practices seem absurd. But like this is not like shift talk or like, you know.
Yeah, okay, good. I wanted to clarify.
Bewitch the Taliban.
That's not what I was saying. Like, I wanted to make clear that, like, I understand that, like, there's real, like, there's cultures and indigenous cultures out there that, like I said, truly, like, believe in, like, their own forms of, like, not magical powers. I don't know what the word would be, but, like these drinks or whatever that they're making, and, like, that stuff is, I find generally interesting, but, like, I feel like that's a whole different category than what we're seeing on TikTok right now, where it's.
But is it though?
Like, it's not.
Are these people literally just taking the piss though? On those people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like lots of them are taking the piss, but like.
That was my point. Was like Christianity and other large religions came in and made these smaller ones seem absurd. So it really wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these like shifters or like rock lickers, as you would call them, were actually like devout Christians or like were subject to some other faith that they're totally inclined to, and then they have since like created this persona online on TikTok, especially because it is extremely influential and there's a large audience for a lot of people who'll be willing to listen, to take these ideas and these concepts and like bastardize them even more, right? Like I really wouldn't be surprised, coming from a lot of conservative views, seeing things like that, because that's kind of what religion has always done, was bastardize anybody who doesn't believe in what we believe. Maybe, and they will go through any means to do it.
Maybe it's literally a combination of both that and then people who are just like
taking the piss.
Yeah.
Taking the piss, but also people who are just delusional. Like they really think that this is what's happening, but nothing's going on. It's just, it's imagination. They're using their imagination.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm sure like the like this rooted in this took off because of people that were like delusional in a sense that they actually genuinely thought that what was going on was shape-shifting or whatever. Like I'm sure there is a part of the TikTok community where it's actual genuine people like trying to like just show their like cultural beliefs or their indigenous beliefs or their religious beliefs, and I'm just trying to say, like, if you'd watch a video where someone was making a real drink, like you said, with like mustard seeds, or I don't know any drinks that are
like
quote unquote famous,
herbal teas.
Like,
teas. Like you can clearly see the difference in a video like that, which is genuine, looks interesting, like it's cool, like to hear the history of how this drink came to be or whatnot, and then a 14-year-old girl in her kitchen mixing orange juice and pop and then saying they made a potion, and it's gonna make you turn into a mermaid. Like, there's a big wide difference, or like they're two polar opposites. Like, one is real, like it's based in like social and
fantasy.
cultural norms.
Yeah.
And then the other one is pure fantasy. And then beyond that is the people taking the piss. But like there's that subset of people that genuinely believe that putting a bit of salt and putting an amulet into water is gonna make them turn into a mermaid. Like it's weird how there's these three, I guess, groups of people without like trying to group them into set groups there, but like it's kind of like split among.
Well, I just think because TikTok has an algorithm unlike anything we've experienced before. If you really think about it, think about Facebook or YouTube or any other kind of social media or place where you would find content. You're not sharing information on TikTok. You're like exclusively sharing videos. Like, sure, you have a small bio, like for your profile and like a profile picture, but you're not writing anything about yourself. Like, yeah, you can tag your videos and stuff, but if you think about it, their algorithm works on viewership alone. So like, Liz, do you know what I mean? Like when you start watching something and it like you swipe up to another video and you're like, okay, well, this is the same sound, or this is like a sound by the same artist, so that's probably why I'm seeing this video.
Yeah.
And that's, I just find the way TikTok's algorithm works is just, it's
just literally the more you watch of something, the more similar things it's gonna give to you.
Well, yeah, it's gonna feed you with what you're interested in, right?
Yeah, what you're interested. Well, not even what you're interested in, but like what you interact with. So
yeah, exactly,
even if you interact negatively, you're gonna see more
why do you
content.
Why do you think TikTok succeeded to such a level? Is because of this. Like they mastered the algorithm game.
Exactly.
I will say, if it's like, yeah, reacting negatively, definitely. Because, I mean, like, I've seen 1.5 million videos of just people being like, oh, bring the haters. I don't care. You're just giving me more views. You're bringing this to other people's pages, But I've realized, at least, if I find a type of video that I haven't enjoyed. Oh, okay, so I'll go into specifics here. I am a plus size lady and I follow some people who do like clothing hauls and stuff, but because of that I started getting body positivity stuff with me, like onto my For You page, and it would show up and it'd be like a woman just being like, oh, you have to love your body, like it's okay if you look like so and so and whatnot. And it's like, okay, I'm not in the mindset of needing these type of videos. Like, this is great for the people who need it and whatnot. But then it was bringing these comments of men just being like, you're disgusting. You're the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh my God, you're the filth of the earth, right? So it was bringing, although its intent was to be good, it was bringing those horribly negative and disgusting comments to my For You page. And I was like, I want none of this. So I would just like scroll past immediately. As soon as I saw anything of that sort, like if I got, I don't know, 10 seconds into it and I realized it was gonna be that way and the comments were probably gonna be bad, just scroll past. Just get past, and then it stops giving them to you. So at least
you can also, like, if you on a Samsung phone, if you hold down on the screen, you can like, a menu comes up when you go to like report a video, but you can also just like select not interested, and it's like, thank you, we will show you less content of this nature. But it's like, how do you decide that? Like, of what nature? Like, what are your secret tags behind this that like why did you show me this in the first place?
I think it has to do with like how much everyone else is watching too. It's kind of the same thing like Spotify. Spotify, if you go to an artist page and you scroll down, it'll tell you like other people who like this artist listen to, and then it gives you the list of like quote unquote related artists, but it's literally just like based off how many people listen to the same thing. So it's like, it's basing, okay, so I'll say I have a lot of cat videos too, right? and it's like, I'm gonna like cat videos. And if somebody else likes cat videos, everything else that they're gonna like might be suggested to me because we both like cat videos.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
I know it's sometimes it's bad and it crosses over and you're just like, wait a minute, what's going on? But I think because there are so many people watching all the time, there's so much information that it's able to like nitpick between. Like, it's literally just putting all these types of videos into different categories based on how people interact with it. And
well, exactly, and that's computers 101. The more people that use a certain algorithm, the more that algorithm gets refined and becomes better. It's a
It's crazy.
machine in a sense. So
blows my mind. TikTok is incredible. The algorithm is insane.
At the end of the day, I just want to say I'm glad I'm not on that app yet. So
I mean, it is the best time waster.
It's one of those things. Okay, so I was definitely one of those people who was like, oh my God, I'm not getting TikTok. Like, that's for children. And then the pandemic happened. And then my sister, who's actually 5 years older, I'm 25. So I'm like between both of your ages. But like my sister's 5 years older and she was like, you need to get TikTok. Because I guess her and her boyfriend were pretty bored when they started working from home. And once you're in, like, you're hooked. There's something, I mean, like, it's the algorithm. It just keeps producing to you, and it's just like, instead of going and watching a TV show and having to sit there for a full 20-minute episode to figure it out, it is 1 to 3 minutes or less. It's like Vine. Like, it's just our time, our, what is the word I'm looking for? Our attention span. Our attention span is way too freaking short now, and so it just like literally fulfills it every minute, and you're just like, ooh, something new, It's honestly, I don't recommend it to anyone because there's no way out.
Yeah,
once you're in, you're in. Like, you're in the hole.
Isaiah, we've been having this like ongoing discussion for a couple days now about like watching television. I really think this lends into it. Like, I can't sit through, like, I know a lot of shows on Netflix are like an hour long, and then the average TV show is 20 minutes long, and even then I find that to be too long. Like, I can't get invested in something for so long. My attention span, it doesn't hold me.
That's how
and
I
then
feel.
Here I am on TikTok for like hours on end. I'll like wake up in the morning and then it'll be the afternoon and I'll be like, holy shit, I literally just spent all morning on TikTok.
Because you're seeing like
even realize it.
200 stories in that hour instead of just sitting for like one story. I'm the exact same. All those true crime documentary, like, I love true crime, but they keep coming out with limited series and they're all like 45 minutes to an hour per episode, and then there's like 10 episodes per series. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. I want in and out. I like Forensic Files. We find out who did it by the end of the 20-minute episode and we're done. It's just like our attention span is gone. It's non-existent, and it's just getting worse.
Yeah, I guess I'm the opposite of you two. I love long TV shows. Like, it's like I don't like most sitcoms for that reason. I find them too short. I like longer shows.
Yeah.
So I guess TikTok isn't for me.
I mean, you say that, but also, like, it is catered specifically for you. Like, you say, like, TikTok's not for me.
Yeah,
and like, that's literally everybody I know who has a TikTok now at one point was saying that exact thing.
Yeah, I know. Because at the end of the day, TikTok means nothing. TikTok in itself is not like a specific topic or subject.
No, exactly.
No, it's literally
just a platform for you to find the topic or subject that you want to watch or listen to. Or whatever.
I will say, because maybe it's just because I'm queer and like I watch a lot of queer TikToks by like queer content creators, but I keep fucking seeing bits from Glee.
Oh my
and if
God.
I find out that any of my friends are on like Glee Talk purposely and like I'm getting those videos because of my friends, I'm going to hunt them down.
It's actually hilarious.
Because I hate Glee. So every time one of these videos comes up, I have never watched an episode of Glee. So, but I recognize some of the characters. But like sometimes I'll be watching this video and it's like, blah, I can't believe this happened. And I'm like, what show is this? And then I see like that super gay boy or like the teacher bitch with the white hair, and I'm like, no, not on my watch, not today. I am not watching this.
I think, okay, first of all, how can you say you hate Glee when you haven't seen Glee? Second
Because
of
it's
all,
obnoxious.
this is not me defending Glee. I will say I had friends who really liked Glee, and I gave it a shot. It wasn't my cup of tea, but it wasn't bad. It was well made, and I mean, it was big for a reason. It had its own niche. If it weren't for Glee, we wouldn't have got Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, but I was on Tumblr when Glee was in its prime, so...
No, I know, me too. I was just gonna say, I don't know if it's like a specific friend that's bringing you the Glee talk, but the more you talk about it now, it's gonna bring more to you.
Listen, Matt, TikTok is listening right now to this podcast.
I wouldn't be
Your phone
surprised.
is listening to you right now. So.
Yeah.
The first thing you
They'll
open on
know.
TikTok is gonna be like an acapella.
If it's Glee, I'm going to come back next week, and I'm going to bitch for 40 minutes about how...
Before you went,
Anyways,
sorry, I just want to bring something up that's like kind of slightly off topic. It's
Yeah.
okay. So before you just said that, it reminded me TikTok is very much like modern day Tumblr. You know,
Yes.
you're following who you want, but then you also get like the recommended stuff to you. I mean, it's definitely different in its own way, but
there's no porn.
that's what you think. I mean, they get rid of it pretty quickly, but I'm sure there are people still promoting their OnlyFans on there. But yeah, it's just one
TikTok
of those.
is Tumblr 2.0.
It's literally Tumblr 2.0. I think we had watched TikToks, maybe you had sent them to me, of people just being like, the people who are on TikTok, people who are on TikTok who are like 13, 14 are literally going through the same thing that we went through when we were like in high school and like 15, 16 when we were on Tumblr. Like I was on Tumblr from 2010 probably to like 2017, maybe. I was on for a long time.
Yeah. No,
Oops.
yeah.
Sorry, my
TikTok,
computer just like froze up.
TikTok is definitely Tumblr 2.0, except there are very few people on TikTok who were like on Tumblr, because now everyone on TikTok is just remaking the same mistakes of everybody that was on Tumblr.
Yes and no, because I feel like we have a good range across. I definitely consider myself a zillennial because I'm like a very end of millennial, and I definitely relate to millennials, but I relate more to Gen Z than other millennials would, I'd say. But like, I don't know, I just I feel like I see people who are, older and like in their like getting into their 30s, I don't know, late 20s into their 30s, who are making TikToks talking about stuff, like that they saw on Tumblr however long ago. I still see TikToks based off Tumblr posts. And then And then there is that other side of it where it's the younger generation going through those same mistakes. And it's like, if I'm in the middle of it, there's got to be other people in the middle of it. And there's got to be other people making content in the middle being like, yo, you guys should figure out that you're saying the same thing. Why has that not happened yet?
Because Gen Z, and I hate to just be
They
like,
hate us.
because Gen Z, millennials, blah, blah, blah. Gen Z really wants to be the first group to experience things. Like, you can't tell Gen Z that, like, this already exists. Like, this is a thing. Because Gen Z just turns around and is like, am I the only person who's ever felt like this?
Matt, this is exactly what I wanted to end the episode on. Because
Well, perfect.
The link you sent me, I was gonna make it actually a teaser for next episode because I wanted to talk about next episode more in detail.
Sure.
But that article you sent about the shape shifting, if you scroll down, it's like multiple articles in one.
Yeah.
And the next article is why do we love to pathologize normal behavior online?
Yeah,
perfect.
I don't.
Can
I don't
we
know what it is.
normalize happiness? Like,
Well, like
buddy.
the same thing happened on Tumblr. All of this, like, oh, if you are sad once, you have like a mental disorder, and like,
Oh
can
my God,
we
yeah.
normalize not liking someone's vibes?
Yeah, it's like
So
five
like
things you don't.
disliking people.
It was like 5 things you don't realize you're doing because of high functioning anxiety. Being nervous before a presentation. No, that's normal, honey.
Exactly.
Everyone's nervous before a presentation. You don't have high functioning anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're a normal human.
Is this?
but like
is
this has already happened. This conversation was had years ago on Tumblr, and like
It's just a repeat.
yeah, it is to see, like, being on Tumblr at that time, seeing it happen then, and then seeing it happen now. It's like literally like that's so Raven.
It
Like-
is. It is deja vu. It's like.
Yeah.
It's even more weird too because like, I'm sure yes, people before our time, like the old people who are a little bit older than us that like were on the internet before us, like Matt and I'll say, they were probably doing like a couple of the weird things, but there wasn't like the extent of the internet before that time, you know? So like it's comparable now from like when the Tumblr days to TikTok now.
Well, The
I
thing
mean-
about Tumblr, it was the first platform that allowed almost complete anonymity and catered material that was catered to you, or that you could easily look for things that you just wanted to associate with. I want to say that Tumblr was really the first platform that did that, and that's what made it really unique, and that's what brought in a lot of like echo chamber discussions about like everybody just kind of agreeing with each other on subjects and then not being able to like get a word in to like counter argue with that, right? And that just kind of like snowballed into some of the stupidest things. But now it's like a whole new generation, people who have never been on Tumblr. TikTok is a very similar platform. Like I
So
just
similar.
mentioned, like yeah, you like once you start liking, engaging with content you want to see, you are getting comments and like you're in these communities with people who think like you, and that's just gonna like allow for the same conversations to happen. A lot
Okay.
of it was queer discourse. Like that's what I relate to because I saw that a lot on Tumblr.
But now imagine what it's gonna be in the next 10 years.
Oh, but
Like,
my,
I'm
sorry,
just-
getting back. The point was
Sorry.
we had this conversation first on Tumblr, but nobody ever had that conversation beforehand where it was written down. So like what
Yeah.
you mentioned was like we're referring to Tumblr because it already happened. Like sure, everything that was on Tumblr everybody already experienced before that as well. But
Yeah.
Tumblr was like the first place it was written down and people were talking about it and discussing it in
Oh
groups.
yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
talking like across a platform with people internationally, you know? Like it's something
Yeah.
that somebody put out there onto the internet like, let's talk about this. I feel like Reddit does a good job at doing that too. It's a lot of, you know, just separate forums and people can kind of go wherever it is that their niche is.
I don't use Reddit.
It's just the same sort of thing. Like you can kind of
Oh, I
figure
know, I
like
know.
find your community for it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just interesting to see because we obviously came in at I mean like the internet has evolved so much in our lifetime.
But technically a really short amount of time too, right?
Yeah, no, seriously. It's hard to think about it. Like I feel like the change from I mean specifically the internet. The change from when we were on Tumblr to now. The things like just how we access the internet is different and like what we're using on the internet might be different, like the platform, so and so, etc. Like I feel my train of thought is completely gone now.
Well, I mean,
I just
if you think about, I hate to like sound like an old person and be like, we grew up with like VHS tapes and CDs, and we always talked about like, there's gonna be a day when like kids don't have this. We're already at that day. Like, kids these days don't know what a VHS tape is.
No, I know.
But, like, that's true. And it's like that it wasn't even that old. It was, like, new technology when it came out. And then, like, CDs came out. And then MP3 players. And, like, now MP3 players are built into literally everything. Like, if you have a phone, you've got an MP3 player.
Yeah.
And, like Isaiah's little baby iPod that he had when he was 8, like, do they still make iPods?
I meant to ask.
No.
I meant to ask, what kind of iPod was it? Was it an iPod Touch?
Yeah, an iPod Touch, but I went through the phase of the iPod, like the normal, like the regular iPod.
Okay. Yeah, because I was
Two.
like, ooh, I wonder
I'm
what
not
one
that-
it
I'm not-
was.
I'm not that much of a zoomer. Yeah, no, I've had both. The iPod Touch and then before the iPod, like the one with the little wheel at the bottom there. What do you
Yeah, the
wanna call it?
Nano.
Well, there's the Nano, but then there's also the one with the screen, which is the iPod Shuffle. There you go, that's the name.
No, the Shuffle.
The Shuffle.
Oh, the Shuffle
Has
is
the
just
screen.
Yeah, the Nano
Shuffle
has
is
a screen.
Yeah, okay, I got them confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But no, don't worry. I'm not that much of a wee lad. I was around when VHS tapes were a thing too. Okay, no worries. No worries.
Yeah, but I mean, kids now aren't.
Yeah.
Oh no, the kids these days don't even know what a fucking CD is. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't even talk about VHS. They
There's-
go to the next thing. CDs don't even exist.
Yeah,
There's
like, what?
literal TikToks of children like trying to figure out how to use a cassette tape. Or like a rotary phone. You know the phones that have the like circle on the front that you spin
Oh,
for
yeah.
each number? Okay, so I grew up having one of those in my house that my friends always thought was crazy cuz like we just happened to have one at my parents' house. And so I grew up with that phone and knowing how to use it. And then not that long ago I watched a video of, I think I have to say this kid had to have been like 11 or 12. Like going into teens. And he was just like, what the hell is that? I was like, that's the phone. Like, the phone symbol literally looks like this phone. What do you mean, what is that?
Yeah.
And they're just,
just,
like, I
like-
don't know how to use this.
Like, just to tie this whole conversation back to what the conversation Matt and I had last week about like generational disputes. Like we think we're like the generation that we're in, and then the kids, whatever you want to call them, that are in the generation that they're in, like the Zoomers or whatever you want to call them. They like we all think that we're in the best generation. You know, we always make fun of the next generation because they don't know how to use certain things. Just like how, I don't know, like your example, Liz, about like boomers roasting us for not knowing how to use a rotary phone. You know, like it's
Seriously, yeah.
it's a perpetual cycle. It's never gonna end. Like the Zoomers are probably gonna make fun of the next generation for not knowing how to use, I don't know. I'm sure DVDs and Blu-rays are gonna be the next thing to go. I don't know. It's always gonna
They're
be
already
the
on the
next
way
thing
out.
that's gonna. Yeah, exactly. So who
Oh,
knows what the next
you-
technology is?
You didn't
So-
have a telecommunication chip implanted into your thumb when you were a baby? Like,
Exactly,
you can't
yeah.
just talk to whoever you want whenever you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always going to keep going. It's going to keep being a cycle, especially with technology changing so friggin' quickly.
Yeah.
Like it's insane how quickly things have changed. And this is the thing, I think about this constantly too. Because of people like our parents' age and like older boomers. I mean, like my parents are at the end of the boomers, but like even older than that, they grew up without any of the technology, and then like suddenly it just went insane, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And then things have continued to change. And I mean, like, it's been here long enough now. It's like, it's been 30 years. If you don't know how to send an email, that's on you. You should have learned. But, like, it is just like, okay, I do understand why it's so much more of a struggle for them to understand how to use these things because they didn't grow up learning how to, like, work with a computer, you know? And it's not
Yeah,
like...
they weren't. They actually went outside when they were 4 years old and they weren't slapping an iPad in their hands.
No,
And called
seriously.
out parenting. Yeah.
I think about the iPad babies a lot, actually. Like,
Because that's parenting nowadays. It's just slap an iPad in a baby's hand if he's being annoying and then call it a day. You know.
oh, it's pretty scary. And I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to sidetrack because we've already been going so long. It's almost like an hour 45 now. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure has been scientific studies done already on iPad babies and how it's like severely messes them up
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. This is the last thing. When I was living in Kingston, I was living with like my best friend and his younger brother, and his younger brother would leave YouTube playing like when he went to sleep. It would kill the internet, and it would piss both of us off when we were trying to game and stuff. But it would be like 4, 5 in the morning, and I would get up to pee, and I would still hear videos playing. Like he would just leave YouTube on like shuffle.
I knew someone like
And
that.
that is insane to me. Like, just imagine the content you're absorbing. I don't know how much you would absorb when you're sleeping, but just like how much like raw, just random
point,
content can the body take?
Matt,
At that point, it's just white noise. Probably the kid.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he was, but probably just needed white noise or whatnot. Like some people need noise to sleep.
That's what most people are like. I had friends growing up who actually had TVs in their rooms, so they would sleep with the TV on, and they'd need it. And Matt, actually, my ex is one of the people who was like, I need a TV on, and so they used to just turn on a playlist of videos they wanted to watch on YouTube, mainly podcasts, and just let them play all night. And then when they woke up in the morning, turn it off. It's wild to me. Like, I can understand the white noise, but you got to think how much is going in. Like, is this affecting your dreams? Is it changing how you're thinking about things? Because you're hearing this information, but are you taking any of it in at all? It's kind of the same as like being talked to when you're in a coma, I guess.
Well, yeah. For those at home who want a podcast to listen to while falling asleep, pick ours, please. We want the views. We want to be Joe Rogan.
Just put us on repeat and let
let those plays go. Thank you, please, and thank you. But yeah, I think this is a good place to wrap. It's been an hour 40, so they're gonna have a long one this week.
Just cut some stuff down. It's fine.
Oh no, it's too much work. Yeah.
Well,
too much
Liz,
work.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for providing your talents for our the art for our podcast. And would you like to plug any of your socials in case you want to show off your work?
Well, I was gonna say thanks for having me. I mean, I do have an art Instagram. It's Liz Art Queen, but it's spelled QWEN, so it's LIZARTQWEEN. I just post there for fun. It's kind of whatever I want to do, but
and for those who didn't catch that spelling, it's going to be in the description. It always will be in the description of every single podcast. So
that's just on Instagram, I should say. I'm literally just on Instagram for my art account. But no, it was fun. I'm really happy that I got to make the logo. I mean, you told me kind of the idea you were going for, and I immediately thought of what I drew. I mean, initially what I drew, and then just making the minor changes is always fun. So,
well, I love you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
So thank you everyone at home too for listening till the end for this big long doozy of an episode. We talked about I want to say lots of things, but well, the first half was on one topic, and then the second half was a plethora of topics. We derailed, but it's always fun, so it's all good. So yeah, thank you for listening till the end, and thank you for tuning into the second episode. I'm glad you stuck around past the first episode, and we didn't disappoint you too much. Again, for those who want to keep track of when we upload or post new episodes, make sure to follow our socials. We're the Mildly Ignorant Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find us on all major podcast platforms, and we're also on YouTube and SoundCloud. And we finally decided we will be uploading every Friday. I know on the first episode when we recorded it, we did not have a set date for uploads, but now we are going to go live every Friday. No specific time, but at least it'll be on Friday, so you know when to look out for the next episode, because I'm sure you guys are all going in withdrawals right now, waiting for the next episode. Just so shaking.
If you're tuning into our socials, we'll do our best to keep you updated on when we're going to update.
Yes. So I think that's it. Right. Thank you again, and we'll see you guys all next Friday.
In the next one.
Bye-bye, everyone.